friend. So we got some great updates on existing storylines, and I think this video is gonna be pretty short, in my opinion. I always try, but I usually fail. But there's four articles, but each one is about an existing storyline. Now, for the last 3 years, I think at least say, just to be safe, say 2 years, we heard about the Francois Malo case. This man right here, the story was about him. I think he was getting sued by. He's a real estate developer, and he may have committed some type of fraudulent transactions, money laundering, allegedly, and the bank was suing him, and what do you call it? Credit union was suing him, and he was going to court for that, and I think he was about to go to court or something. And this guy he hired a street gang to go at the lawyer's house. The lawyer was going to answer the door, and the guy who was executing this contract, he blasted. He blasted the lawyer. The lawyer was behind the door, and it hit his abdomen, but the guy survived. Then the hitman ran away. Anyways, Malo got pinched. The hitman got pinched, and the two hitmen, I think they got jail time. I don't know how many years, 10 or something. But Malo himself, he was in court, so he was going through these court procedures. So he's gonna get convicted of this, of paying this scheme to happen to kill the lawyer. And anyways, I skipped the court proceedings. There's been regular update on the court proceedings. He tried to wiggle his way out of it, create fantastical stories. We may have covered one of them, but then but that story just kept happening and happening. Wasn't too interesting, so I skipped. Now this one did come in. What's up, Starboy Stacks? Whoever put that nickname, man. But yeah, because I'm not sure if Starboy is a good thing. I have a feeling, or if it has anything to do with someone trolling the real Stacks, or maybe not. Maybe it's just your own nickname. I don't know, man. But some tells me Starboy is an insult or something. It sounds. But anyways, Starboy, what's his name? Yeah, so we were on Malo here. Now, guess what's happening? So he's almost done. He's cooked, right? And now his latest attempt to escape everything. My opinion, I don't know. This time I have no clue. But look at this. The promoter is on the run because the Hells Angels and the gangs want to extort him for $4 million, according to a letter or an email. Unconfirmed email or something like that. So he may have just absconded, and I sent an email to his lawyers or whatever, and he says, "Look, I'm on the run. I don't want this to look like I don't want to do my sentence or something, but I have a valid reason to be on the run. I'm actually wanted by the Hells Angels and the gangs." And, usually when you have some guy with such a great, grand scheme like this, money laundering of epic proportions, he sent millions to offshore bank accounts. I've noticed the common denominator in our country for various schemes, whether you go to British Columbia, whether you go to Quebec, or street gangs, they're taking over, and there's always a common denominator. It seems like the Hells Angels are on every storyline. They're like it always goes back. The spider web somehow always goes back to them. So I'm only saying this because my first reaction is to say he's trying to get out. He knows he's cooked. He's gonna go to jail, and he's trying to get out of it. And like Rabbi Al-Khalil, he's trying to pull a Rabbi Al-Khalil and escape, And if he does get caught down the road, like Rabbi has no excuse. Rabbi, when they're catching him, they're gonna cook him for sure, Rabbi won't be able to do anything. Him, he's taking if it's the case, He's trying to figure out if he does get caught. Like, okay, but you can't charge me, man. My life was in danger. I had to do this. I actually escaped for a valid reason. That could be it. Or like I told you, the spider web always does go back to the Hells Angels. Who knows? I'm trying to put both out for you, both theories out for you. And this letter, or whatever is written by Mr. Jean-Francois Malo, was divulged. So I'm not gonna be reading all this stuff right here. I just thought you were. But we're gonna try to go it through specific parts if we can. Uh, Sorry about that. I was just trying to see if I can. It's hard to think when you're hosting a show, to be honest, and trying to figure out the words. French is not very straightforward like English. They play with words. They have double meanings sometimes. He reports first that the Hells Angels have improved and developed their department extortion during COVID-19, with commerces and bars being touched. So now you know that in so many parts of Montreal, they're setting fires to bars or throwing Molotovs, things like that. We found out a lot of it has to do with street gangs, but nowhere does it ever, so far between us, that nowhere did it ever came out that it was ordered by Hells Angels. Okay? Now here, it seems to be, he is suggesting it seems. Yeah, I don't know, the criminal... He says that the criminal on the run swears that he's the object of intimidation and extortion. Let's see. And this summer, an individual had knocked on his door to pass him, quote, a message. A couple of weeks before his luxury car, was mysteriously set on fire. Now, I don't know. Well, is there any confirmation in the news that his car was set on fire? Maybe I accidentally missed this one. I doubt he's just going to claim this and it did not happen. Now, question is, did he set it on fire and he's creating the narrative for himself? And more recently, a man associated with street gangs came to intimidate and extort me for $4 million, alleges Mr. Malo. This individual, of which his identity was masked in the document that became public by the court, would have appeared in front of him. I have no clue what gaillard means. I guess it means like a mask or something, I'm not sure. And he represented himself as if being a representative of a street gangs of Montreal. Special team... The man who had put this pressure could be implicated with the conflict with Desjardins, and I don't know. Desjardins I think is the credit union they're talking about. Well, we're gonna skip all of this, anyways. Now, Jean-Francois Malo in the letter is also going as far as asking the judge for a special type of protection by a special team of the SQ. He says that he furnished them or the investigators with information, but in order to receive help, but he has not received success. The SQ is not helping him out. But here, I guess, another quote from him, maybe in the letter. But unfortunately, they were not preoccupied or excited by the punishment that you will inflict on me in a little bit of time, complains Malo, saying that he is ready to collaborate with any police bodies in order to reappear in all security. Is this true? Is this not? I'm leaving it up in the air for you. I think it's crazy, But yeah, I have no idea. But he did try when he went to court. He I forgot what he did. But in court he tried to play around a little bit before this one too. It's funny that it's now that this comes out. I don't know, but he could be saying the truth. Next one, wanted by the FBI, a close associate of Ryan Wedding arrested in Canada. His name is Rashid Pasqua Hossein. He was wanted for his role in the organization. Got it. I'm just trying to skip what we already know. Rashid Pasqua Hossein was arrested in Canada. Is that him? I guess that's him. I guess that's Rashid, The 32-year-old man had a role in the criminal enterprise, according to the FBI. He was wanted since the 28th of October for his implication in the presumed money laundering of the enterprise. Yeah, same stuff, trafficking cane and all that. Yeah, and then they're just repeating the story of Ryan Wedding. And remember, they increased the reward. I think from was it 5 to 10, from 5 or 10 million to 15 million. Recently, we already know that. All right. Yeah, that's it. That's it for this one. Two more stories. Now we go. So you see, first storyline, Francois Malo, we got an update. Ryan Wedding, they captured one of his associates. Now we have another storyline update. The update to the Montreal street gang. One of the two. Remember, there was like two street gangs. Well, prison gangs or whatever you want to call them. Made the major ones, that were fighting and killing each other. One of them was with the downtown projects. The other one was Flamehead Boys and a numbered gang name, like a 64 or 67. I don't know. There was a numbered name to them. There's several numbered names, or two of them. I'll never remember. But it was they were killing each other. And what's interesting is, each one, at least one of them does, when you go up the tree branch, one of them would go back to, I believe, was Atna Ona, and the other one was coming back to Jean-Philippe Celestin, like basically the pipelines, So it's interesting that they were battling each other out, and each one goes up to those two, which don't seem to like each other, So maybe that explains itself. But you remember there was a list of people who died, who were killing each other. They were rappers. They were rapping videos and gloating about I got 3 of your boys, and the other one says I got you back, and they were like, there was those rappers. We had that names that comes to my head was Jean Vilsain. There was and I know that Arab Power was. There was an Arab, one of these deaths, Arab Power was involved in it, or something like. I believe I'm pretty certain Arab Power was involved. One of the one of the deaths, which I can't recall all the names. Sorry about that. We have a Justice, a Wushu, Tajuddin, or something. So, anyways, it's hard to remember this one, but you follow the flow so far. Now we get more details. We get an interesting update here. He was managing a list of 14 people to off. Félix Tremblay pled guilty to accusations of a plot of offings and involuntary homicide. I don't know if this is a person who got offed or that's himself. So it look like Tremblay to me. I guess it's him. Let's see what we got. So first, he's accused of the death of Noel Garcia Frias. So this will be one of the deaths, I was telling you about. I believe Noel Garcia Frias actually was completely innocent. It was a mistaken identity. He was not the correct person. They killed some completely random person, man. So a young Montrealer, 23, only 23, admitted to having managed a list of 14 people to kill, including members of a gang. Whose heads were put at a price totaling more than $2.6 million. $2.6 million for 14 people, man. Think about that. Crazy, man. So it's like, maybe, I don't know what it averages out to, 700K to 800K maybe? No, or 80K, sorry, I'm a little bit, where am I sleeping today? What's the average? Someone just pull out. I can't pull out the calculator for some reason. I have 2 screens and I don't have the start menu, Windows menu, where I would do it. But yeah, 14 people for 2.6 million. Felix pled guilty in the courthouse in summer of 2023. The accused 23-year-old was looking for people to complete contracts at about $200,000 per target. Damn, so was that the... I guess, yeah, sorry, I don't know why I said 800. So, yeah, there you go, 200,000, say, average per target. $200,000, man. Think about that. $200,000. He affirms having had a list of 14 people to eliminate for a total of 2.6, and he could pay in cash. 23-year-old man. Who's offering him all of this money? That's the real question. How does this 23-year-old man have this amount of money. I have my doubts that he saved it through his job. Uh, I think he's a middleman and someone else from someone else. You know what I'm saying? So Félix Tremblay was part of a conversation, virtual conversation online, I guess, with accomplices, of of which certain are in prison, aiming to off several people from the downtown projects. So think about it: 14 people. We don't have a choice here, but 14 people from the downtown projects. So the downtown projects their heads were worth $2.6 million for their enemies here. $2.6 million for them. He admitted to the court having received photos of two targets, Justice Owusu Tajudeen and Christopher Jean Vilsain. I always said John, but yeah, the English version is John. So Christopher Jean Vilsain, but ignores that they were members of DTP. Man, there's got to be some money involved behind all this. Now, what do you mean forger? There is money. It's 2.6 million. Oh, I mean simply like it cannot be as simple as, yo, those guys, they're dissing me in a video. All right, let me spend $200,000 to kill him. I don't think it's like that. I don't buy that one. I'll be shocked to find that out. It's as simple as he dissed me, and I don't like that. So let me spend some of my hard-earned, difficult money to make $200,000 on this. You know, behind all this, the motivation somewhere somehow has to be linked with stupefier sales or something along those lines, with a lot of money involved behind it for someone to be willing to pay $2.6 million, you know? But you never know these days. But I think somewhere it's like, what I mean is the nucleus of all this is some criminal money type of activity that generates a lot of money, you know? Let's see, where are we now? Wrong car. All right, we know that he got Noel Garcias. This is the guy who completely innocent. Yeah, collateral. We know that Tajudeen was killed in downtown. He was killed on the I forgot the name of the spot. It's probably on Guy Concordia, that the Arabesque Shisha bar, I think. I went there maybe a couple of times in my younger days, long time ago, man, decades ago. Intermediary. Tremblay has admitted having played the role of an intermediary. Okay, we were right. In front of, but it was obvious. In front of, in order. Yeah, that's it. So he was an intermediary to find the targets and send other individuals to do it. You know, to do the thing. He was looking for executors coming from outside, notably Toronto, because it leaves less traces. In October of 2023, he furnished a fire tool destined to off Gordy Jean-Paul. The Ontarians, 18 and 16 years old, were quickly arrested for the offing of the rapper. Damn. Remember that? We read the news when it first came out of Gordy. Damn, we've been together for a long time. That was 2 years ago, man. 2 years ago we did this. Sometimes I'm surprised we've been together doing this. Still hasn't hit me that was 2 years ago. And Félix Tremblay, he got arrested the following month. So the following month, that was quick. So he gets killed, and the following month, he's already arrested. Oh, okay, sorry. He wasn't arrested for this. He was arrested for robbery and fire tool possession. During an infiltration operation, after they released him, so they released him and then they started to trail his butt. He indicated to a double agent that he was looking for rounds in order to use them for a contract to off someone. in which he was participating. That he was not going to be the guy, but he was not the one that's going to actually use the rounds. So, So you see, they put the puzzles together. That's the problem I've noticed with young guys who are in their early 20s, I've noticed this. They may not, a lot of them, they can't help themselves. They're part of something big finally, and they can't keep the details secret. They get a little bit drunk from the fact that they're in now. They're finally in, and they speak a little too much, and here you go. Before you know it, you're speaking to a double agent. He was arrested in February of 2024, and he finds himself behind bars since. So he got arrested after all this, the operation. They trailed him. They collected evidence. They put A and Z together, and finally they arrested him. So yeah, he's good. So they're trying to give him 19 years in the pen, but we know what 19 means in Canada. But Felix is hoping that he'll get out with less because his lawyer deposed requests trying to reduce his sentence. Okay. There you go, man. There you go. All right, last article, the main one. Let's see what they give us. This is it's pretty surprise here. Rizzuto and his gang. I don't know why they put this in quotation marks. What do they mean? Does he mean Rizzuto and other mobsters that work for him? Or do they mean Rizzuto's and a street gang that's working for him? I don't know. Just curious they put this in quotation marks. So it says, Rizzuto and his gang transferred to the prison of Bordeaux a couple of hours after being attacked. Oh, they're being attacked. What's going on? And we got Felix Seguin here. Now listen, I have some. I'll apologize in advance. Like I told you, I'm using 2-3 monitors. There's an issue right now where I don't have access to the start menu. For some strange reason, I don't have it, and I need it right now so I can adjust. I was gonna tell you, my volume's coming from a speaker that's like sort of far from me. The issue is I have to lower the volume so it doesn't blow up your ears. I might not hear what they're saying because my speaker's far from me, and I have to actually lower the volume, and we don't have the same volume level. For you, it's going to sound normal. For me, I might not hear anything, but I'm hoping to translate this so you see where that causes an issue. I might be able to hear from that speaker that's very far from me. I'll try. Okay, so usually it's around here that it doesn't hurt your ears, but I might not hear it. Yeah, I can't hear anything. That sucks. Let me just see if... Yeah, why doesn't it... I just can't get the... I need to switch the... I need to make the sound come from the correct speaker that's in front of me here. It's coming from the other room, man. All right, maybe I can look at the captions.
Félix, peux t'en venir? Salut.
Voici, Vincent.
J'essaie de comprendre ce qui s'est passé.
No, it's not.
C'est attaque à l'arme à feu. On était à
No,
la
it's
prison
not even
Rivière des
correctly
Prairies.
translating this. That sucks. Let me just see, double check something. I'm so sorry. I apologize. Let me see if I can play with my menu here. Come on. Sound settings. I'm trying to search on... so I don't know how to explain this to you. Let me just... Can I activate... Speakers real... Set as... Let me see if this worked. Oh, yeah, it worked. Okay, I found a bypass. Nice. Okay, let's get into it, man. Sorry about that. All right, we're good.
Qui a fait beaucoup jaser. Félix, peux t'en venir? Salut.
Voici, Vincent.
J'essaie de comprendre.
Ooh, sorry about this. Give me 1 sec. Why is it? All right, perfect.
Ce qui s'est passé, attaque à l'arme à feu. On est à la prison Rivière des Prairies. Puis là, on lit cet article-là, puis on se dit, est-ce que c'est un coup monté pour
What? Whoa, this is a blockbuster here. He's talking about a shooting inside of a prison. What the hell?
obtenir le transfert de prison de haut gradé de la mafia qui était ciblé par une AR-15? Explique-nous ça.
Parfait.
He's mentioned something about a high-level mobster was targeted by an AR-15 while he was being transferred to another prison or something like this. Let's see.
Disons 1, 2, 3. Là. Commençons par 1. Qu'est-ce qui s'est passé?
No, let's start from the beginning.
Rivière des Prairies, samedi après-midi.
Rivière, samedi
Okay, let's start in RDP Prison, Saturday afternoon. First of all, let's start there.
après-midi. Il y a des détenus qui font leur promenade à laquelle ils sont autorisés dans
There are detainees that are having a little walk. I guess, you're allowed to leave your cell, I guess, and have a walk.
la cour S1 et S2 de
In the courts S1 and S2,
l'établissement. Il y a un ou des individus qui se présentent à bord d'un véhicule dans
and there are certain individuals that arrive on a vehicle. So they're on the yard. There you go. Yard S1, S2. There's inmates. They're having their walk. They're allowed to do that. And there's like a fence. And on the other side of the fence, I believe the vehicles can, vehicles are driving around. Now he's saying there's a vehicle that appears.
l'aire de stationnement du centre de détention de Rivière-des-Prairies et ils vont manifestement faire feu en direction
Damn. And then from this vehicle, they pull out the fire tool and they start doing a drive-by.
de la cour où se trouvent les prisonniers. Ceux-ci vont se coucher plus tard.
And then the prisoners, they duck down on the ground in the yard. And the guys are trying to kill them, basically.
On retrouvera un fusil de type AR-15, donc automatique ou semi-automatique. On ne trouve pas de douille, mais on trouvera un album photo.
What? He says we don't find shells. How do you not find shells if you spring? I don't get that part. He says we don't find shells. We find a photo album? Yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand.
Avec, à l'intérieur, des inscriptions assez particulières sur les cibles potentielles.
And we find photo album, or maybe maybe he's just not saying it correctly. Maybe he's just saying we found a bunch of photos, but on the photos there is an inscription, maybe the handwriting here. Let me just rewind a little bit to be certain.
Avec, à l'intérieur, des inscriptions assez particulières sur les cibles potentielles de cet individu.
So there's certain interesting inscriptions on these photos. Sort of, I don't know what he's like. He's being too vague. It's almost like he's saying they got a photo. They found a photo album on the scene. On the inside the photo albums, there's pictures of people and there's inscriptions on these people. Maybe it's a circle. Maybe there's like a photo album of people, and then there's like someone who's circling the targets. Like, oh, here, that's the guy. That's one guy. The other one, that's him. Maybe that's what he's saying.
Ça, c'est pas un modus operandi normal.
So this is not a normal MO.
Les tueurs à gages, normalement, ils savent sur qui ils tirent. Ils n'ont pas besoin de...
Usually killers, they know who they're targeting, They don't really usually need a photo album, do they?
bonne photo pour y arriver.
Ouais, puis en fait, ils ont mémorisé la photo, ils la voient.
Yeah, usually they don't bring the photos with them. If they've had it in advance, they memorize the photo picture, who it is, before they go.
Ils l'ont étudié. Normalement, là, un scrapbook, là, c'est moins
Ouais.
le panache des tueurs. Alors, ça soulève beaucoup de questions.
Parce que le
So this definitely brings out some questions.
auto a été retrouvé incendié aussi.
Wait, what?
Tueurs. Alors, ça soulève beaucoup de questions.
Parce que l'auto a été retrouvé incendié aussi.
Oh, and because we also found
L'album photo.
the vehicle that was involved in this drive-by, we also found it was shot down, right?
J'aimerais ça qu'on ait revoir la carte parce que
Man, I don't know why my thing's bugged now. This sucks, man. As you see, I'm clicking a little rewind. Now the rewind's gone. This computer's been acting weird. Sorry, man. So, guys, I'll only get one shot at playing this. I might not get the perfect translation this time. I apologize.
face même, ce complot d'assassinat, si c'en est un, avait peu de chances de réussir.
Now he's saying that this plot to assassinate, one thing you have to understand is it had a very low chance of succeeding, and he's about to demonstrate why. So first, because I won't be able to pause later, let's just scan the picture so we can follow him better, right? So here it says cour intérieure de la prison. So the square here is the yard, the interior yard of the prison. Got it? position of the presumed trigger man. He's pointing. Now, this is a big square. I don't know. I guess the arrow is really just pointing exactly here. So he's saying that position has to be here. Now, I don't know what this is. This is maybe the parking lot or where the vehicles can drive by, probably. Because the court's here, right? So he's shooting from here, I guess. And Institut Philippe Pinel, I am not sure what this is. Just the prison name? I'm not sure. Because it is familiar. Might be. Anyways, let's continue.
Les détenus étaient ici.
The detainees were here.
Le tireur ou les tireurs étaient ici.
The shooters were here.
Environ.
OK.
Il y a des cours grillagés. Il y a des clôtures.
Thing is, there's a fence.
C'est presque une centaine de mètres de
It's almost hundreds of meters different distance between the shooters and the victims.
distance. La capacité d'effectuer ce tir
The capacity to perform this hit
et les chances de réussite
and the chance
quasi nulles.
is almost zero.
OK.
Alors, on se demande qui, donc, de bien avisé aurait tenté cette affaire-là sans savoir qu'il pouvait, réussir.
So who was advised to do this without really understanding the success rate of this plan here?
Alors, si
Est-ce
on
qu'on
a-
voulait envoyer un message?
Did we want to send? Is it that because we wanted to send a message, really?
Peut-être leur faire peur?
Maybe to scare them?
c'est là où on arrive avec nos photos. Parce que les gens qui étaient dans la cour à ce moment-là, c'est des membres de la mafia.
No, but look, there's people. Sorry, I didn't understand exactly what he said. I missed a little bit what I didn't get. I couldn't hear. My volume's low compared to yours. If I increase it a little bit, you're gonna be in pain. But he says no. But look, you have to realize who was in the yard. Who are these men? The $1 million question.
Parle-nous de ceux-là.
Leonardo Rizzuto, chef présumé de la mafia, ses lieutenants, Davide Barberio, Vito Salvatio, Pierre Philogène, du côté des gangs de rue, très violents. Puis on a fait la liste aussi de d'autres individus qui étaient dans la même cour quand ça
So these are the 4 men that were in the yard, and there was others too, guys.
s'est passé. Jean-Richard Larrivière, c'est un membre en règle
OK.
des Hells Angels, et d'autres individus qui purgent qui sont en attente pour des procès pour meurtre. Parce qu'à Rivière-des-Prairies, tu es là en attente d'un procès, souvent où tu purges
I think he even said Hell's Angels, Jean-Richard Larrivière, remember he was arrested in the plot recently. It was a big news, the plots with Frédéric Silva, who cooperated, and the cops built a case to get Jean-Richard Larrivière. He was, he suspected of having ordered the deaths of old friends of his who were rockers, bikers, and things like that, part of plots. So, that whole big plot with Hell's Angels Mafia a couple of years ago where they got people killed and all that, tied to Frédéric Silva. So that guy, I think I heard him say he was in the yard.
une peine de 2 ans, moins un jour.
Fait que là, attends, là, dans la cour, t'as la mafia, les gangs de rue,
So wait. In the yard, you have the Mafia, the street gang,
puis les Hells.
and the Hells Angels,
Qui attendent un procès
who are waiting for a process, because he described the prison earlier as this is the prison. It's like maybe a transitional place where people who are waiting for the court date are being stationed. So remember, all these guys got arrested recently in that operation. That's why they're all there.
pour certains,
OK.
dont Leonardo Rizzuto, dans le projet Alliance, donc
Project Alliance, that's the name of that operation.
qui découle des révélations de Frédéric Silva, le tueur à gages lui-même,
Because of the revelations of Frederick Silva, they are there, remember?
déstabilisé toute la matrice de la mafia montréalaise, et M. Rizzuto est accusé de meurtre au premier degré
And Mr. Rizzuto and all that, he's accused of murder in the first degree.
dans ça. Alors, c'est eux qui ont été visés.
So it's them that were targeted.
Mais là, on se pose la question.
So now we ask the question.
Est-ce que la mafia a été visée ou la mafia...
So now we ask the question, because they were all in the courtyard. Who was targeted among them? Was it the mafia? Was it the Hells Angels? Or was it a street gang member?
C'est elle-même
C'est visé.
visée.
Ah ouais?
Ben, c'est parce que là, on a relevé dans notre discussion, Philippe Vincent, les éléments incongrus de ce complot-là. Hein, n'est-ce pas? Les photos que les tireurs auraient eu en leur possession, l'impossibilité à la distance donc d'atteindre ces gens-là. Et là, on apprend, en plus de tout ça, que parmi les individus susmentionnés, il y a des gens qui avaient fait des demandes de transfert pour se trouver au pénitencier à la prison de Bordeaux, appelé le centre de détention de Montréal.
So now we find out among them there are some, I don't know which one, he didn't clarify. It could be any of these guys. They were among all these people in the yard. Some of them made a request, so they're in RDP prison right now, right? They made a request to be transferred to Bordeaux prison.
La police croit, mais n'est pas certaine,
The police suspects, but they are not certain,
que la mafia
that the mafia
aurait pu organiser
could have organized
un faux attentat
a fake attempt
dans le but d'évoquer
in the hopes to evoke
en cours
in court
que leur vie est en danger
that
et
their lives are in danger
qu'ils doivent changer de pénitencier,
and they must change prison.
de prison.
Oh, that's a genius way of putting all of this together. Because remember, the credit to him, to them to bring this up. Remember, this hit that just happened. It was how could you say that? It was stupid. The logistics of it, the success rate, how where the drivers were, how far the yard was. It was almost impossible. You're gonna hit the target that you want among all those people that far away, with a fence blocking it, and you're from a vehicle, So someone who organized all that to fail like that with so little thought thinks he's gonna succeed. He knew they were not gonna succeed. So putting this all together, they think that this was planned by. They suspect, they're not sure, this was planned by mobsters themselves in order to because they don't want to be in RDP prison. Now, I don't know why, or maybe it's not the fact they don't want to be RDP prison, because this might be temporary, but they want it to be in Bordeaux. They want to be in that prison. Now, let's find out.
Ils ont été transférés.
Ben là, c'est ça.
Ce que je comprends, là.
Mais regarde, il n'y a pas de hasard dans tout ça pour la police parce que...
Now, it says, wait, the thing is, it's not all random for the police because...
Surprise, ces gens-là, pour plusieurs, devaient revenir en cours cette semaine.
A lot of them, they had to come back in court this week.
Et là, ils ont été transférés en douce pendant la nuit ou la toute fin de la journée dernière à Bordeaux.
And now they were transferred right away to Bordeaux.
Et pourquoi ils veulent être... Excuse-moi.
Alors oui, ça c'est intéressant. Mais
But so the other guy says, why? Why do you want to transfer?
Vas-y.
Non, mais pourquoi ils veulent être transférés?
Bon, deux choses. Ça peut sembler antinomique de dire qualité de vie et Bordeaux dans la même phrase. Parce que...
Now, look, I know it might sound ironic to say quality of life and Bordeaux go in the same sentence. Bordeaux's not a good place to be.
Que Bordeaux, le centre de détention de Montréal, c'est une des prisons les plus vétustes du Québec.
I think he says it's one of the worst Bordeaux prison.
Son état de salubrité fait
The cleanliness,
défaut.
cleanliness levels is failing.
Très chaud l'été, très froid.
Very hot in the summer, very cold in the winter.
Bref, tout ça. Mais pourquoi on y serait mieux qu'à Rivière-des-Prairies?
But why would they feel better in Bordeaux versus staying in RDP prison?
Parce qu'il y a beaucoup plus de facilité, selon les sources criminelles qu'on a consultées, à transiger par drone à l'extérieur.
But according to sources, the reason is, I don't know why he's saying this, but he's saying the reason for this is the advantage in Bordeaux is it's a lot more easier to, he says, transact with drones, make stuff come in and out with drones. It's a weird coincidence that he mentions this. I actually, by chance, I have a weird luck. I met some dude, and I dropped him off at a prison lately. I don't even want to give the name because I want it to stay secret. Dropped him there, and the guy explained to me something about. I didn't ask too much questions, man. I don't ask questions. He said he offered it. He said it to me. The use drones and things like that a few times, So I guess it's a big thing for them. And here, I don't know why these mobsters want drones. Let's find out.
Des murs, avoir des téléphones portables, des stupéfiants.
Cellules.
Là-bas.
Okay, so now he's saying benefits, stupefires, benefits, cell phones.
Cellules simples pour certaines ailes. Alors, mais de toute façon, Leonardo Rizzuto était déjà le chef de Rivière-des-Prairies, il y avait
Now, but anyways, the thing is, Leonardo Rizzuto, he was already the boss or chief of RDP Prison.
pas de problème à Rivière.
He had no problems. Maybe he's saying this as an expression. I don't know if he means this figuratively. He was the boss. He was ordering people around. I don't know, you know. Maybe it's just a way of speaking, you know, that he was so comfortable, he was living like a boss.
Des Prairies. Il n'y en aura pas moins ni plus à Bordeaux.
Thing is, for him, it would make no difference. It's not like it would be any better for him, Bordeaux, than where he was at currently.
Mais peut-être qu'il y aura plus de facilité. Mais il y a une
Maybe he'll have more ease. I don't know.
chose que l'on oublie. C'est mon collègue Éric Thibault qui me l'a fait.
But there is one thing my colleague Eric Thibault told me
J'ai remarqué tantôt.
that he noticed.
Alors, les individus, pas tous, mais une partie doivent revenir en cours cette semaine.
Now, the individuals, not all of them, some of them need to come back in court very soon.
Et qu'est-ce qu'il y a qui relie le centre de détention de Montréal et le palais de justice Gouin?
So what's the link between the courthouse in Gouin and the prison in Montreal?
Où ces individus doivent comparaître? Un tunnel qui a
There is a tunnel.
été aménagé pour faire les méga procès
There was a tunnel that was created in order to go through that huge mega process for I think he's going to say the Hells
des
Angels,
Hells Angels lors de l'opération Printemps
for the Operation Springtime 2001. Now, it's a long time ago.
2001. Donc, il y a
2001.
25 ans. Donc,
So 25 years ago, they made these tunnels between, I guess, the prison and the courthouse.
de Bordeaux, il y a un tunnel
Now, from Bordeaux prison, there's a tunnel
qui relie la prison
that ties the prison prison of Bordeaux
au palais de justice.
to the courthouse.
Donc, on peut aussi présumer
Hence, we can also presume
que cette décision de les transférer
that this decision to be transferred to Bordeaux
n'a pas été prise à la demande des détenus ou en raison de ce drôle de complot-là.
now he's playing, man. Now he's saying we can assume that they will presume that this request was not made by the detainees themselves.
D'assassinat si c'en est un.
Mais pour être sûr que le transfert se fasse
Oui,
sans
mais pour
anicroche.
protéger.
Now, at first they made it sound like, you know, when we started this video, you and me, he made it all sound like, yeah, they're trying to get transferred for some reason. They're going to get stoop fires and all that. Now, I think he's changed a little. I think he's giving another hypothesis, as if they're not the ones making this request. It might be the officials who want to make. Bring them there because then they can just go to the court through this tunnel, and maybe they, it'll be for security reasons. Perhaps they might try to escape. I don't know, But now he's jumping. Suddenly, it's not them that's asking anymore, So I guess he's presenting another theory, man. Let's see. Yeah, I can't go back.
Les agents correctionnels aussi. Parce que là, s'il y a une véritable... Parce qu'on a deux choix, Philippe Vincent.
Because we have two choices, my friend.
Soit qu'il y a une menace réelle sur la mafia,
Because if there is a real threat against the mafia,
soit qu'il y a
Qu'il y a des kids des gangs de rue qui ont
Ça se
eu
peut.
des cartes de mafia puis ont dit allez tirer dessus.
so there might be street gangs that have that got a hit. They're trying to kill the mobster.
soit que cette affaire-là est planifiée. Tu sais,
Or this thing was planned and by the mobsters themselves to make them look like victims, and they need to be transferred. I guess that's what he's saying.
depuis longtemps. Sauf que, d'une part et d'autre,
But here's the thing:
les agents qui travaillent avec les détenus
the COs that are working with these types of detainees,
doivent effectuer le transport
they need to be able to make the transfer safely from the prison to the courthouse.
de détenus. Eux ne doivent pas être pris dans
They must not be in the crosshairs if something like this ever were to happen again.
un feu croisé. Surtout si on ne sait
You know, the shooting.
pas, parce que la vérité, dans le fond, c'est que la police ne sait pas ce qui s'est
Mais
passé.
c'est ça.
The truth is, the police right now at this point, they're not really sure what exactly happened.
Elle ne sait pas.
OK.
Fait que dans l'incertitude,
Hence, in this uncertainty,
on protège aussi les agents. Hein.
we must also protect the correctional agents,
Ben, j'espère.
Les détenus doivent être protégés aussi.
and the detainees must be protected too.
Techniquement. Tu nous reviens
Yes.
quand on reparle de ça? Parce que dès qu'il y a des détails, c'est une histoire qui est fascinante.
Man, he says it's a fascinating story. You need to come back to us on this.
Félix, beau travail.
Au revoir.
Je te laisse sur ton
Crazy,
travail.
man. Yeah, welcome to Quebec underworld, where this stuff surprises us, but it does not surprise me, friend. 2 decades ago, or was it 2.5 decades? There was this scenario happened already where the Red Devils, what's his name? I forgot the name. Red Devils, biker underlings of the Hells Angels were in the courtyard, and they tried to. I think was it the Rock Machine? I guess it was 3 decades ago. The Rock Machine came and they sprayed the yard and from outside, and they almost killed their enemies like that. So it wouldn't be a first. You think that there's something new under the sun. This is fresh stuff. It's really not. It's happened before. But the other one, we're certain they wanted to kill someone. We're 100% certain that plan had chance to work out. This one does not, though. This one looked like it was gonna fail from the beginning. So man, it's up in the air. It's up in the air. Now I like to scan the texts because sometimes we get an extra details we did not get from the video. It's happened before, and this is too important to not take a chance here. So yeah, so they were finally changed prison. They transferred them. Rizzuto and his gang were transferred in the middle of the night to Bordeaux. Now, Saturday afternoon, yeah, we know this. We know what happened. Among them, who were the people in the yard? Leonardo Rizzuto, Vito Salvaggio, equally Hells Angels, Jean-Richard Larriviere, David Barberio, Pierre Philogène. None of them were injured. And it was done with an AR, I can't really say the word, but I did by accident earlier. And they were left on the scene, so they used the fire tool and they dropped it right there, no surprise. They found the photos of the targets. I guess the photos of the targets were none other than these four. Couldn't make it more obvious. It does look like a setup, guys. It does look like a setup. They know they're cooked. Maybe it's because they know they're cooked. They know they're going to spend a lot of time. And for some reason, they want the easier life in Bordeaux. They want the cells to be snuck in, cell phones. They want the drones to be made useful. Maybe that's why, looks too easy. You got you got the photos with them for each one of their targets perfectly. You can't even see the targets; they're so far from you. So how could you really tell when you're like hundreds of meters away, as they said? Look, I guess this is I guess perhaps this is what we're. This is the view that the shooter had. I guess this is it because he's driving here, right? He has to be driving on the street. I'm hoping this is the scene they can see. And look, what could you really tell from the yard here? Where's the prison? Is this the prison, or is this area the prison? I don't know. But clearly, when you look from this, man, you know how difficult it is to successfully hit someone, and to even try like this. And then after that, leave a photo album of the four most famous underworld figures with you, with circles on them, and drop them there. You know something? These guys are not dumb. They know. I'm guessing maybe they know that. Think about this. The cops know it's fake. They still have to transfer them. This is a genius move. So if you think it looks like it was an amateur, it's not. It's perfectly done. It's a fail proof. It's actually not. It's not guaranteed to fail. It's actually guaranteed to success. The government has no choice but to transfer them. The government cannot say, "No, we're not transferring them. Their life may or may not have been in danger." They can't do that. This was a perfectly orchestrated plan. So. You think, the person trying to kill him, they were amateurs, they were a bunch of idiots. Not the case whatsoever. This was actually perfectly orchestrated. It was going to work no matter what. It's actually fail-proof. Now that I think about this, it was not even my theory. They brought it out. It's credit to the police or this reporters for putting all this together. Yeah, they're just repeating what we just found about the theories. So yeah, you see, here's the thing. They demanded to have a prison transfer. Seems like they asked to go to Bordeaux, and they were refused. They were refused. The government said, "Who do you think you are? What are you talking about? You're in prison. You don't select how you do prison. You're not you're not in charge here." And then they said, "Oh yes, we are. Oh yes, we are. We're in charge out there, and because we can make people do whatever we want." Such as a stupid plan like this, which is not really stupid. It looks stupid, but ultimately it gets us what we really want. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. And where are we? Yeah, it says, so why you want to go to Bordeaux? Why would you want to go to Bordeaux? Yeah, because there's much more, it's much more chaos over there. There's drones, more comfort. There's goodies that are coming through drones. There are some simple cells. I don't know what that means. Contrary to RDP, where the cells are more sophisticated, I guess what it means. Where everything is in double. For someone who's heavy in the underworld, who wants to continue to manage his business outside the walls, I sincerely believe that there is more possibilities in Bordeaux, explained a correctional officer from Bordeaux under the cover of being anonymous. There you have it. You heard it fresh from a CO who knows the ins, because he's actually in himself. Crazy, man. Welcome to Quebec, Canada underworld. Crazy, man. Oh, that was a blast today to learn about how more degenerate things can always get here. When you think you've seen it all, which we did see something like this. I'm still surprised. Fun, hilarious. At least no one got hurt, and it's just an administrative thing, at the end of the day. All right. Thank you for being here, man. Thank you to Starboy Stacks. Now, I don't think he's talking about the other Stacks. The other Stacks has 2X. I think it's just random. Some other person named himself Starboy. But we got Bulldog 416, Heretic Crone. Bulldog, I think it's DJ. The names change sometimes. I get confused, but I remember the icon. Chris Inslee, Ange Predicts, Zach Mitchell, U5P, Mr. Green Thumb, Jose Ladoze 74, or is it Jose Lados 7440, and unknown 31212. Thank you so much, and all the silent rest of you, or maybe even watching it from Bordeaux, with your cell that you snuck in, I don't know how you do it. By drone, I guess. Now it's no more the favorite method is not from the butthole. It's from drones now, And, it seems drones is very popular, It's popular when Forger in his regular day, he can just, I don't know, bump into someone, drop him off at a prison. And he's telling me here that's how they do this. And he was laughing about it. I'll be honest, I found it funny too, But some of the, what's funny is some of the nicest, it was one of the nicest person I ever met who treated me with the most respect I've ever been treated. I imagine that. Someone from prison. You think, someone that offed someone. Believe me, he offed someone, and that person showed me more kindness, treated me more humanely than people out here who are free in the free world who are so-called civilized. What a shocker, huh? What a shocker. But, anyways, have a great day, guys. Thank you for joining us. Hit the like to help me out. And if you're going to watch videos in the future or whatever, you might as well help me out and subscribe. Yeah, I really appreciate it. And I get no rewards from this. It pays pennies. It's worthless. In a good month when I'm really, I hit the home run, I made $90. So that's it, So at least join, subscribe, help my cause in a different way. Appreciate it. Thank you to everyone and the Silent Bunch.